Welcome once again to 720 and 720. This is John Schulman, and once again, for all you young coaches, men and women, we have a treat today. He's a lot better on a podcast than if we were doing a video, because I've seen him and looked at him, and it's not the greatest thing at him. But let me just tell you something. For what this guy is doing for young coaches is incredible, and it's phenomenal, and it's fantastic. Adam Gordon, welcome to 720 and 720.
Thank you. What an introduction. Thanks, John.
That was big time, wasn't it?
To be here.
Well,
it was great. No, honestly, John, I really appreciate you having me. I'm a fan of your podcast. I've listened to several of them, and am honored to be on.
Well, if you're a true fan, you would listen to all of them. So that's disappointing, Adam.
Yeah, I haven't listened to all of them. So I'm not that big of a fan, but.
All right, so let's go through, before we go to Rising Coaches, let's go through your grind as a college coach. Tell me where you started, how you started, and then we're going to kind of segue into that with Rising Coaches.
I started as a manager at the University of Tampa. I knew I wanted to coach from about the time I was about 15 or 16, and I wanted to try to play first. So I was gonna try to walk on. I was clueless. I thought, let me find a Division II, a really, really good Division II. Surely I'll be able to walk on there. And so I looked at the top 10 Division IIs in 2001, and it was University of Minnesota Mankato. I said, no thanks. South Dakota State, D2 at the time, nope. Then I saw University of Tampa. I said, that sounds good. Let's go there.
Wow.
And that's basically how it worked. I went out there, tried to walk on, but I wanted to be a part of a winning program. Regardless, didn't make the team, signed up as a manager the next day, and that's how I got started.
Well, okay, let me throw this, and hopefully we got a bunch of young coaches listening. There is no certain way to get to the top. I mean, you don't listen. I worked for Jeff Lebo. He was the number one player in the country coming out in 1984. All right, that's one way. Lawrence Frank was a really good friend of mine. Lawrence Frank is now the president of the LA Clippers, and really he's got the longest winning streak as a brand new head coach. He was with the Nets, and I think he won his first 15 games as a head coach in the NBA. Lawrence Frank was a manager at Indiana. Will Wade, I know Will's had some craziness lately, but he was the head coach and still is the head coach at LSU. He was a manager in high school, manager in college, and worked his way up. It doesn't matter if you were a great player, good player, average player, manager, GA. It doesn't matter. There's no certain way. Correct or incorrect, Adam?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think what matters, John, is if you can, and a lot of this is luck, but if you can get around some great mentors at a young age and be around some really good coaches, to me, that's more important than, what path and, because there's no set path and everyone's got a different road there.
Well, okay, so you went from mentor Richard Schmidt at Tampa.
Best.
Yeah. Listen, I went to his basketball camp when I was 13 years old at Vanderbilt. So I've known Coach Schmidt. He doesn't know me, but I've known Coach Schmidt for a long, long, long time. But, okay, so Tampa to where?
So let me just tell you real quick about Coach Schmidt, because most people don't know him. He was a Kentucky high school legend, won, I think, 4 straight state championships. And then
that's not really important up in Kentucky, is it? Is that important in Kentucky?
No, that's not a big deal. It's not a big deal there. He was an assistant at Virginia, head coach of Vanderbilt. Was there for 2 years, pissed a bunch of people off. Even though they won, I think they won 18 games, he got fired and started the program at University of Tampa in 1981. And one of my first games there as a freshman manager, 30 seconds into the game, stands up, calls the ref a cheater, and gets tossed.
Yes,
I mean, he's a legend. He's the best. All right, so I worked for Coach Schmidt for 4 years and got really, really lucky. And as soon as I graduated, got an assistant coaching job for Tim Ryan at Central Florida Community College. Now it's called the College of Central Florida, but really lucked into that position, and that was awesome. Junior college level was amazing. For 2 years, I did everything. Assistant coach in practice. I did the weights. I taped ankles. I was running around getting food for the guys. Schools were coming in, recruiting our players all the time. It was an unbelievable experience. I loved every second of it. It probably took 4 years off the end of my life, because I think every year you spend at JUCO, you lose 2. But it was well worth it.
Let me throw something out for young coaches or managers or somebody wanting to try to get in. If you go the junior college route, number one, you get unbelievable experience. 2, you get great recruiting experience because you're on the road recruiting. You get great coaching experience because they don't have a big enough staff who you're going to have to coach. But the major thing is you get the contacts too and the connections, because all these 4-year guys are coming into your place recruiting your kids. So you get it on both ends, I think. Tell me, am I right or wrong?
You're right. You're right. It was great. And this is how stupid I was, John. When Coach Ryan called me, he said, come up, check out our campus, and see if this is something you want to do. I wasn't going to go. I was going to skip the interview because I was too good for JUCO. Here I was, a manager at a Division II school. I thought I was going to get a GA spot at Duke. And the assistant coach, thank God, Mark Olson, the assistant coach at Tampa, told me to get my ass in my car and get up there. And I took that job. It was the best thing I ever did.
We all need a Mark Wilson in our life. We all need someone to just say, come on, man, what are you doing? All right, so you spent 2 years at Central Florida.
2 years there. And then, again, got lucky. Tim Ryan was good friends with Josh Pastorino, who was the assistant coach at Clemson, and the two of them got me hooked up with the GA spot there at Clemson. Worked for Oliver Purnell for 2 years there. He left in the middle of the night, went to DePaul, and Brad Brownell got hired, and I stayed on an extra year with him. Then went to Northern Colorado for a year, then Mississippi State, and then Southeast Missouri 4 years ago.
That is, you've been with some good people, man. You've been with some really quality people. But once again, let's talk about how on earth you go from Central Florida Community College, probably I know they've changed a bunch of names, to Clemson. How on earth? And you just said it. You did it because your boss knew someone there, and all of a sudden you're at Clemson, correct?
Yeah, Tim Ryan is from Clearwater, Florida, or he lives in Clearwater, Florida, and raised his kids there for a long time. Josh Pastorino is a Clearwater legend, and Tim's sons played AAU basketball with Josh's brothers, and that's how they got to know each other. They're very close friends, and they just kind of helped me out and hooked me up with that job. When I got there, I'm thinking this is my first crack at Division I basketball. I'm in the ACC. This is amazing. And just going back to your point about coaching at the junior college level, I couldn't have been more prepared for that job had I gone any other route. There was nothing I hadn't seen at Clemson. There was nothing at Clemson that I hadn't seen in my 2 years at College of Central Florida. It was awesome. That was a whole different level, and it was really fun to be around. But I felt super prepared.
Well, I will say this. All right, so you're not juiced up, kind of going into the junior college world. But I will tell you this, and I'll tell all young coaches or whoever that out there listening, if you'd have done a crap job at Central Florida, he would not have put himself on the line and say, listen, man, Josh, you need to take this guy at Clemson. If you'd have done a crap job, if you're too good to be where your feet are and you're too good to be there, then you're going to do a crap job and you're stuck and you're screwed and you're out of coaching. Correct? Incorrect?
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta do your job. You gotta do it well. And I loved every second of it. I had that attitude going in. When I left that interview that day, I was so fired up to be a part of that program. And that's how you got to be, no matter where you're at. But I was just blown away by Tim Ryan, and he made it so much fun. And I was just learning every single day and learning about my passion. So,
well, I still remember I got my offer. I was 23 years old, and I got my offer for my first job is to go to Wofford College to work for no money, but be called a full-time assistant. That was the offer. Listen, man,
That's the dream.
we want you to come to Wofford Division II to be an assistant coach. You're not going to make any money, but if you go recruiting, we'll give you expenses. And I was like, you mean I get to do this? I remember going down Church Street, heading back to East Tennessee, stopping at a payphone and calling my mom and saying, "Mom, I'm a college assistant." And it was, I mean, with no cell phones back in the day now. And so I stopped. I remember it was at a Pizza Hut, stopping right there. So I remember that. And that's what's great about the journey. And for all young coaches or managers, whoever out there, DOBOs, video, it's the journey. It's not about the destination's okay. It's the journey that makes it really fun. And you need guys like you've had along the way, Adam, and like I had along the way to help push us in the right direction, which goes right into what your passion is, and it's rising coaches. And that's why all these young people, golly, I got lucky. And it sounds like you got lucky. Today, these young kids don't have to get as lucky because you're out there advocating for them and you're out there working for them. So talk to us about your new passion.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We've had it 10 years, so I don't know how new it is. I feel old, John. I used to be one of these guys coming up trying to get a break. And, it's nice to, like, if we had an organization like Rising Coaches when I was coming up, it would have really helped. But it's nice to be able to give back and have this resource available. But Rising Coaches is something we started from the video room, a.k.a. the storage closet at Clemson. Myself and Andy Farrell, who was the video coordinator there. We used to sit every year and read the list of the top 30, under 30 coaches and the list of the invites to Villa 7, and that was a huge deal. And now they got the list of the people invited to College Consortium, and those are all great programs. I've never been on any list, John. I'm not a list guy. Were you ever on any list like that? The only list I was on was the waiting list.
Yeah, I was on a couple bad lists, but the naughty list or whatever. But no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so we used to sit there and we said, you know what, we need to put something together for everybody else. There's only 30 people get invited to this thing. There's way more of us than there are of them. Well, like you always say.
Yeah, we've talked about that. There's way more managers and the common folk out there than there are to pick on Lebo, the number one player in the country. There's only one of those.
It's this business is so competitive, and there's so many more qualified coaches than there are jobs. So we thought we would get together and hang out, get to know each other, talk basketball, maybe learn from some great coaches along the way. But really just the opportunity for us to get together and be a support group for each other. That's kind of how it started. We kind of leaked word on Hoop Dirt. We put a thing out there on Hoop Dirt saying that we're going to hold a conference in Vegas in July, right before the AAU period. And we didn't know what was going to happen. I thought, worst case scenario, me and Andy and a couple other friends will be in Vegas for a few days. Not a bad, backup plan. And we put that thing on Hoop Dirt, and 30 minutes later, my phone rang. And it was a number that I didn't know. I answered it. It was Adam Cohen, who was the video coordinator at USC at the time. This guy now is the associate head coach at Stanford, by the way. But just a random call. He said, "Hey, I saw what you guys are doing on Hoop Dirt. That looks awesome. I'll be there. I can't wait. I'll spread the word, bring some friends." And I kept getting phone calls like that the next few days. And that first conference was really magical. It was unbelievable. We had about 32 of us in a conference room at the New York Hotel and Casino in Vegas. And we had, because all the coaches were out there recruiting anyways for the AAU period, they all swung by and spoke. Buzz Williams came by, Steve Lavin, Brad Brownell, or Grant. I mean, it was an unbelievable, for something we just kind of scrapped together. It was unbelievable.
So really, you started with three guys. You started with three. You started with three.
We started
It
with
was
two.
your. It was,
It was just me and Andy, and then we put word out there and like I said, then people just started jumping in and took ownership and made it their own. And that's what's so great about it is, you know, I don't own Rising Coaches. Everybody does. Everybody that's been a part of it, takes ownership, and it's something that's helped them. So now they all want to give back to it. Mike Fly was there, Adam Cohen, Lucas McKay, and there's a bunch more. But those were the guys that really early on, I think, saw the potential for it and really embraced it.
so you had 32 guys out in Vegas first summer.
Yep, 32.
And I don't even want. We'll keep on going. But that was 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago, right?
2010. Yep.
And you just kind of went for it. It was a needed idea. It was a good idea. All right. So that first time you had 32, and you went, man, this is pretty cool.
Well, this is funny. Me and Andy had been talking about it. We've been talking about it all year, and like I said, Oliver Purnell left in the middle of the night. It was the national championship game on Monday. The game ends. It's like 11:30. I'm watching all the interviews. Now it's around midnight, and all of a sudden on the bottom of the ESPN ticker, Oliver Purnell signs 7-year deal at DePaul. And so just like that, this business is crazy. You go from making the NCAA tournament to being out of a job, and there I was out of a job. And there was a transition period between him leaving, Brad Brownell coming in. I didn't know if Brad was going to keep me. So I said, hey, now's the time. I'm out of work. Let's get this thing started. And that's kind of when we just decided to jump into the deep end and get this thing rolling.
Well, I mean, okay, so how did you get it rolling? What I mean, you really kind of made it into really a company.
It was just word of mouth. It was just word of mouth. That's how we got the word out there. We had our first conference, and we did a good job. Andy did a great job of publishing our notes. He took notes. He's a diligent note taker, and he put it together and emailed it out to everybody. I mean, everyone. And just word spread. People loved the notes. That thing got spread around. It was on different websites, and people talked about it, and it just grew and grew and grew. We kept doing that. Then we added a Final Four party, which was a free event. The one thing I've found, John, is if you have free food and beer, people tend to show up.
I got you.
And we've been pretty consistent since day one of our organization that if nothing else, we do provide that.
All right, I understand. How many? I mean, I'm just curious. How many guys did you have this Final Four?
We had over 600. We had over 600 standing room only.
That's a little different than 32. That's a little different, Adam, than 32.
It's really rewarding and pretty special to look out there and see all those guys, lined up and waiting to come and be a part of it.
Well, okay. Okay. So before I'm going to say why on earth do I want to be a part of it, give me your top 2 or 3 success stories.
Oh, man, there's been so many. Like I said, Adam Cohen, was a video guy at USC at the time. Now he's associate head coach at Stanford. Mike Fly was the video guy at Florida State. Now he's the head coach at Florida Gulf Coast. He was at that first one. Brian Peterson was a GA at Iowa State. He just won his 2nd national championship as a head coach at Kirkwood Community College, which is unbelievable. There's so many guys, and we've been fortunate to help so many people get, we don't get them jobs. We just help them along their path. We connect them with people. I think the best part about our events and what we do, the speakers are great. The educational resources we have are great. But the best thing is you're hanging out with a bunch of guys trying to do the same thing you are. And you just never know who's going to help you in this business. You never know. You're not going to get where you're trying to go by sitting down and writing letters to Coach K. You're just not. The guys who you're hanging out with or sitting at the bar with, those guys are going to call you a couple years from now, and they're going to know about a place they may be able to help you out with. And to me, that's the biggest value in what we do.
We talk about that at Billis's camp. Everybody's trying to get to know Billis. Don't worry about Billis. Worry about hanging out with each other, because 2 of you out of 45 in this room are going to be Division I head coaches. Who are those guys? Now, I don't know who they are, but who are those buddies with those guys? And all those deals are made, all those deals are made at camp. I sat there at Furman's team camp way back in the day with a guy named Dave Conradi, and we were hanging out and having a blast together. And we made a deal right there. Hey, man, if you ever become a head coach Division I want to go with you. All right, cool. Hey, man, if I become one, you come with me. Cool. All right, great. Well, I won that battle. So I became a head Division I coach when I was 37. My first phone call was the guy I met at camp. I mean, that was the deals that you make, and that's why it's fun to be on the ground floor of that. But you sent a guy to the league, did you not? Didn't you send a guy who's working maybe in the NBA in some capacity?
We've actually had a lot of guys cross over to the NBA. Andy Birdsong is probably the biggest success story there. There's a bunch, but Andy Birdsong was a GA at Florida State. Now he's the assistant GM for the Spurs, which is a pretty big deal. Brandon Bailey was a GA at DePaul. He's the head coach for the Boston Celtics G League team. TJ Saint has been with several different organizations in the NBA. Brandon Rosenthal, who is one of our legacy members, and Brandon helps run the organization now, is most recently with the Phoenix Suns. They obviously just got let go, but he'll be on another NBA staff too very soon. So yeah, we've had a bunch kind of make that leap. It's kind of cool seeing the paths that everyone goes, and now having this organization for 10 years, you really kind of look back. It's almost like we have different classes. So like looking at where all the 2010 class went, the 2012 class went. I was just kind of going through those lists the other day. It's pretty neat to see that.
Well, I think, listening to what you do and kind of knowing what you do, especially like at a Final Four. I told you, we've talked about it. When I went to the Final Four for the first time, I didn't know where to go, what to do, who to see. I was freaking out, scared to death. Oh, my God, there's Dean Smith. Oh, my God, there's Coach K. I was running in the other direction. I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And what you've done is you've given people like me, and there's a lot more of me than there are of the Jeff Lebos of the world. You're giving a home to people like me. And I think that is so important. And besides that, it's a 4-letter word that I'm sitting here as you're talking, I'm going, you give guys like me hope. So if I can get with you, you give me hope. No, you're not getting guys jobs, but you're opening up doors, and then I got to go get the job. But I just need someone to open up a door for me. I don't need someone to get me a job. I just need hope. And you give hope, Adam, and I ain't going to lie to you. Hope will drive a lot of people forward, because if you don't have hope, you got nothing. And so I will tell you this, well done with you and your crew, because you give a lot of people hope that probably wouldn't have any, just to be honest.
Well, every other profession has some sort of resource available to them. If you want to be a doctor, you go to medical school. You want to be a lawyer, you go to law school. If you want to be a teacher, there's all kinds of certifications you can go get. If you want to coach, they just throw you in the deep end and tell you to figure it out. Like, I don't get that. I don't know why there's not more. And I think you're starting to see more resources pop up. But that's all we've tried to be is a resource for guys who are trying to figure it out, like all of us.
Well, me and you're going to take care of that coaching thing, and because and while I'm talking to you, my life is changing a little bit, but it ain't.
Congratulations! Is this your first podcast since becoming the head coach?
Absolutely. You're like my first recruit I called. This is historic. Absolutely. All right, but we're still going to have the coaching box. Even though I'm at UAH now, we're still going to have the coaching box. That's going to go on, because now that I'm a head coach, just because I'm a head coach at UAH doesn't change my original thought is trying to help young coaches on the men and women's side. And remind me, we got to talk about the women's side too. But that's not going to change. And if you don't invite me to your Rising Coaches deal, you're still. When is your Rising Coaches conference in Charlotte?
Yeah, Rising Coaches Conference. Well, first of all, we're going to be all over this summer. We're mobilizing, John. I'm excited. I'm so juiced. I've never been more excited about Rising Coaches than I am now, because we are taking steps to be able to provide daily content and reach our membership. We're going to have a membership base. We're going to grow this thing out. We'll be in Chicago in a couple weeks, and we will do a pop-up shop, just an informal social in Chicago, somewhere around May 22nd, 23rd, and we'll put info out on Twitter. Then we'll be in Austin, Texas for Memorial Day weekend. We're going to be in Orlando early part of June around the NACTA conference. We're going to have our first ever Summer League social in Vegas around July 7th for the NBA Summer League, and that would be great for anybody trying to make that jump from college to the NBA. And then our big event is our conference, which is July 19th through the 21st in Charlotte. And registration info will be up soon. You go on there. It's a 2-day event, 2.5 days. And like I said, you're around like-minded people. We'll have unbelievable speakers. We feed you. We have a great time. But what you're doing, John, with the coaching box is so important, because you come to our conference and you're going to meet a ton of people. You're going to double your network. You're going to listen to some great coaches speak. But you go to the coaching box, you're going to learn how to coach. You're going to put them through the ringer and actually teach these guys to blow a whistle, right?
Oh, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill them. I mean, they're the ones at camp. I mean, that's what you know.
John, you got this phrase. I got to use your phrase. Are you going to rip their nuts?
No, hey man, come on now. I didn't.
I love it.
I never.
That's my favorite phrase of yours.
I never said that. Ever said that. But no. Hopefully, we're gonna hopefully teach young people how to really coach. And you better now. The coaching box really started because I'm hopefully going to do that deal at your place. Correct? Incorrect? Or am I uninvited now?
Well, I don't know if you're a big time head coach now.
I got no time for you. No time for you.
You're going to give us a sneak peek at our conference. You're going to come Sunday, and we're actually going to get on the court for the first time ever, and you're going to give us a sneak peek of what you're going to be doing at the coaching box, and you're going to get our guys out on the court. And
I mean, here's the deal.
I hope I'm not speaking for you.
I'm dying to do it. But here's the deal. The deal is, like, you're getting older, and we all have connections, and you get out there with some young people who now have hope because of you, and then all of a sudden we really like Tom, and we really like Cindy. I mean, Cindy's got a chance to be a high level. I mean, it don't take a brain surgeon to see who's got it and who really wants it. And then what you do is we know people. And listen, my girl Lauren Sumsky just went to Lipscomb. I just got to know her, and she was phenomenal at what she did, and we just kind of opened up doors for her, and now all of a sudden she becomes an assistant, and a head coach, and she needs assistants, and all of a sudden Cindy does a great job. Hey, Lauren, you need to talk to Cindy. That's all it takes, is one person just stepping out there for you. And just because I'm like the new head coach at UAH doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing that. We're always going to continue. If you want to help people, you continue to help people. And now, hopefully you can grow Rising Coaches to really help morons like me when I was going to my first Final Four. And a guy just walked in here who went with me to my first Final Four, a guy named Dave Conradi. And at the Final Four, you wear your school shirt, you wear your school outfit or your sweatshirt. I wore a Milwaukee Bucks NBA sweatshirt, and Conradi looked at me and went, "What are you wearing?" I was like, "What? It's a basketball thing. You don't wear that?" He was like, "Oh, that's fine." And I went out there that first time. He let me go out there, and I looked like a fool because so, you're going to teach guys and young ladies and young guys how to do this. Talk to me about on the women's side. Are Rising Coaches just for men and men only? Are you male chauvinist pigs? What are you trying to do over there, Adam?
Rising Coaches is open to everybody. It's open to everybody. And I'll tell you this, we've done a poor job, and this is my fault, and I apologize, but we have done a poor job of really establishing ourselves on the women's side. And the reason for that is we're just not on the women's side. So I don't know as many people there, but I want the women's side involved because I think we can help on that end too. But the reason, like I said, that the reason this thing spread and started was just all through word of mouth. And so it was really easy for us to get that going on the men's side. You know, I tried to do rising ADs too. I thought this, John, I was like, hey, if I help these ADs come up through their careers, that might be pretty good for me one day. But I couldn't get that thing spread either because that's not the world that I was in every single day. I'm an ideas guy, John. I got outside the box. I know you got the coaching box. I'm all outside the box.
Well, let me tell you what you need to do, and we'll find one together, is you need to find a female in coaching who has the same ideas as you. Because there are so many, you know, there's so many bright young guys that are going to be the next head coach here and there. It's the same thing on the women's side. When I started talking to this young lady, Lauren Sumsky, I was blown away. I mean, I was like, how old are you? And she was like, when I first started, she was like, I'm 25. I was like, you're 25? You're the head coach at Rhodes at 25? And then 2 years later, she's going to the NCAA tournament as a head Division III basketball coach at age 27. She is a head flipping Division I basketball coach at Lipscomb. She is 27 years old. African-American female at 27 years old, kicking tail, and she is going to kill it. And all she needed was a chance. And she is well connected. And there are 100 Lauren Sumskys out there who are dying to come to Rising Coaches and get noticed and get picked up and get seen just like Lauren did. And all of a sudden their careers are changing. So I will tell you this, and I'll help you any way possible. I really think there's some young females out there, just like the young guys out there, that are so sharp and so hungry and want hope, just like we did when we were young.
Yeah, no question. And I'll tell you this, 2 years ago, we had our first ever event at the Women's Final Four in Columbus, Ohio, and it was awesome. Again, first event, we had about 75 young women there. We've had two female speakers from women's basketball. Melanie Balcom was phenomenal. She was the former head coach at Xavier and Vanderbilt. She was great. So we're making steps in that direction, and please, for female coaches that are struggling with the same things that we're struggling on the men's side, lack of resources, lack of connection to your peers, we can help.
Well, you're going to open up doors. Now it looks like you're expanding in a big, gigantic way. You're starting to do more stuff in the summer. What else you got in the plans?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, so because we've all been hell-bent on our own coaching careers, this is really operated kind of as a passion side project. Well, a couple years ago, we made the decision to start organizing our infrastructure, and we have taken some steps there. And so pretty soon here, by the end of the summer, we're going to have a membership-based organization. So if you want to, people always call me, how do you be part of my Rising Coaches? And I really never had a good answer for them other than just come to our events. Well, we're going to change that. So you can be a member. By the end of the summer, we'll have that up and ready to go. As always, it's going to be super affordable. And so now you can belong to our group. And then with that, we're going to be able to reach our membership group on a daily basis with different content, from X's and O's to articles on spotlighting some of our members, to blogs on the best way to do whatever, team travel, or the best way to do individual workouts, or whatever it may be. But we're going to be reaching our membership group every single day. And that's something I'm really excited to be able to do. So
you're going to be a resource for all young coaches.
Absolutely.
Men and women's side. And now all of a sudden I can be a member of it. And then I can get material. You need to hook up with Doug Brotherton at Fast Model, because he's really good at what he does. We need to just start collecting all of our people, putting them in there, because what you're going to do is you're going to do some really cool things and then they can come and check you out at both Final Fours, because you're going to have a spot at both Final Fours.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden you're going to be. Listen, at one time I was the king of the common folk at the Final Four, as Lebo would say. And you're going to be the guy to help lead this next push, because they need help. I needed help. You needed help. I got to help from out in the forest. You got to help from other different people along your way. Everybody needs help along the journey, and now you're going to be the one to really do it in a very sophisticated, kind of organized way that they've really never had. Just to be honest, this has never been done. I don't think you need to hook up, and we're going to do a podcast with Kyle, with the managers. I guess he's that National Coach Basketball Coaches Managers Association. I think I just kind of botched that up, but it's really what it is. But the managers are the ones that, I told a big time business guy here in town, in Chattanooga. I said, if you want to be successful, hire 4-year walk-ons or college basketball or college managers, because they get no credit, they get really no money, and all they do is work their tail end off for the greater for the greater good of the team, and that's what, last time I checked, that's what business owners want out there in this world. And so you need to hook up with them. You got something going, my friend. You got something exciting.
Well, I appreciate it. And just going back to what you said, I'm excited to be able to give back to the profession and try to just help people, be a resource, because coaching's hard enough. I mean, it's so hard. And it's not just me out there, running this Rising Coaches train. Like I said before, there's so many of us that help create this organization that are still really active and giving back to it and trying to help. So it's something that we're excited about, we're passionate about, and the more people, the merrier. We want you involved.
Well, okay, so membership packages will be, you think, at the end of this summer?
Yeah, by the conference. Conference is July 19th through the 21st in Charlotte. By then, membership will be up and ready to go.
Where you going to do your conference in Charlotte?
That is to be determined. Determined. We've hosted it in Indianapolis the last 3 years at Marian University. They were an unbelievable host. They were excited to have us. It was really first class, top notch. So we're just working on securing our location in Charlotte.
I got you. So that you'll be in Charlotte, you'll be in Vegas early July, you'll be in Charlotte the middle of July, and then everybody can start signing up. Your Twitter is just Rising Coaches. They can find you on your website.
Yeah, Twitter's our best, our biggest platform that we do most of our communication through. So that's the best place to find us. You just find us at Rising Coaches, and we will have our promotional material available out there and keep you posted on everything, all the latest. Again, we're going to be all over this summer. We're going to be in Chicago. We're coming to Austin, Texas. We're going to be in Las Vegas for those who are interested in being around the NBA Summer League. And then we will be finally in Charlotte for our conference, which is our big event. That's the one. If you're starting out, if you're trying to figure out which one to start with, come to Charlotte. Be there. It'll be great. You'll have a great experience.
All right, let me ask you. Okay, so if I'm a college basketball manager, men and women's side, I can do this, right?
Absolutely.
If I'm a GA, I can do it. Correct?
Yes.
DOBO, video guy.
Fact, yeah, DOBO, video guy. We get everybody. We get Division I assistants sign up and sit in the stands.
Okay, well,
take notes.
Okay, so NAI, D2, D3, D1, it doesn't matter. JUCO, it doesn't matter.
High school.
That's the one I was going to ask you. That's the one I was going.
Yeah.
If I'm a high school, junior varsity, high school coach, which actually I was a high school, junior varsity coach. If I'm a high school JV coach, middle school coach, can I join the Rising Coaches?
Yeah, high school, AAU, it doesn't matter. Come be a part of it. If you're interested in meeting like-minded people who love basketball and all they want to do is talk about how to become a better coach and what you're doing with their team, and come to Rising Coaches to be a part of it. There's no limits. You don't have to be at a certain level. Anybody can come. Open to everybody.
Adam, I love you. for what you're doing for those young coaches, because I needed you, and thank God I had Al on the force to help me along the way. And now you're going to be everybody's Al on the force, because it is much needed, and you're going to be coaching coaches, and you're going to be impacting lives like you ain't ever seen. So you're going to have a lot of fun doing this, because you're a good dude. You're a good guy. You don't look like a lot. You're much better on a podcast than a video.
I agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. But let me just what you're doing for young coaches on the men and women's side, and I'd love to help you. I'd love to be involved, and because it's a lot of fun, and you're going to really impact a lot of people. I mean, I really, really appreciate your time. You know, we need to do something. We need to do like another podcast when we're together in Charlotte, or do a little video and do a little podcast. We'll do something when we're in Charlotte together in the middle of July. How about that?
John, you know what I want to do? I want to do a call-in show. Andrew's on here, right?
Andrew's right in front of me. Yeah, my sound engineer.
Call-in show. Can we do a call-in show?
Hey, hold on a second, Andrew.
Say I'm frustrated.
Can we do a call-in show? With Rising Coaches, can we do a call-in show? You have the capability of doing a call-in?
We'll make it work.
He said very simple. It's a good answer. He will make it work. And so
we'll co-host it. Me and you, people call in. You know, they can talk about problems they're having with their team. They can talk about frustrations in their career, and we'll just try to help them.
You're on to something in a big way. Hey, Adam, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thanks for your time, and thanks for what you're doing. And you're going to do a great job, and we're going to be there to support you every step of the way. And can't wait till the middle of July, but we'll talk a lot soon, and good luck with everything. And like I said, thank you from the young John Schulman a long, long time ago. I wish I'd had you then, but I'm glad I got you now.
Thank you, John, and again, congrats on the job at Alabama Huntsville. I know you're fired up to get back on the sidelines, and we can't wait to watch and support you guys.
Well, I appreciate it, man. We're going to have a good time. Appreciate your time. Thanks again, and can't wait till the middle of July. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.